Hi everybody, I just wanted to do just a real quick testimony because I haven't done my testimony and I've been really struggling with sharing it as well, so I'm going to go ahead and do my testimony right now. Well, mine all started back when I was about 5 and my brother was about 2. We lived with our biological mother at the time, and she was a severe alcoholic. Like, she would drink all the time and she would pass out and we would be like getting into things like at our apartment, just getting into like her food stamps or whatever. And I remember like there was a lot of things that would happen at the time. Like at one point I was probably about 3 or 4, I think, and I still remember, so I was sitting in front of the TV and she had come up to me with a beer and she had made me drink beer, or like she had forced it on me. I remember that. And just, she always left the place really nasty and really dirty. Well, one time, my brother and I were left outside in the snow, the dead of winter, and I was wearing clothes. My brother, I think, was just in a diaper at the time, and he was 2 at the time. And she had been in the bar, and she had went to go drink while she left us out with some guy that she didn't even know, which was really dangerous. And I guess the lady in the bar had seen that because she noticed it more than once, and she ended up calling CPS, Child Protection Services, on her, and we ended up being taken away from our mom for neglect and for the alcoholism. And from there, it didn't really get much better at all. From there, I went to live with my biological dad and my stepmother at the time, and it pretty much just got worse. Like, from there, I ended up being raped by my stepbrother when I was 8 until I was 17. And I actually had told my parents about this, and I told them about it a few times, but my dad really didn't do anything, and my stepmom, she knew, but she didn't really do anything either. Like, I was pretty much just called a liar. And my dad and my stepmom had ended up getting custody of, let's see, yeah, I still remember writing the back of the police card too when I was taken away from my biological mother. I still remember that. My parents used to have locks on my door all the time because of this thing. When I was 13 years old, because my brother and I we were abused. Yes, we were abused. We were hit all the time with belts and stuff, but we were actually bled a lot. And I was called all kinds of nasty names, like just words you don't even want to hear. An incident when I was 13 where I could have had a miscarriage. I remember this because I was hurting so very bad and everything. When I was 15 years old, however, I tried to run away from home. I literally tried to run away. Like, I stayed at the school instead of going home because of all the stuff that was going on. I also tried to commit suicide around this time. I had stabbed myself with a knife, and I had poked myself with a pen, so like I was stabbing myself with a pen as well. I ended up being sent to a mental hospital for it. And I ended up having, like, I would pray while I was there, and I had to actually have my Bible on me and stuff like that. I do have a scar on my wrist from the belt that my stepmom at the time had hit me with, and the belt buckle had gone through my wrist, and I still have the scar from that. So yeah, that was really hard on me as well. My uncle, not just my stepmom, my uncle, Bobby, it was around the same time my stepbrother tried to do, like, was raping me and stuff. Well, my uncle tried the same thing a couple of times. He tried it when I was 8, and then another time he tried it when I was, like, 15 or 16, where he tried to get up close to me, and he was just, like, trying to hold my hand and stuff, and it was awkward. It's not right. And he was drunk at the time, too. Most of my family liked to do that. They would get drunk and do that. I was definitely physically, mentally, sexually, and verbally abused all my life, pretty much. But since then, I actually had left my parents' house when I was 18. I ended up being married to my husband. He's a wonderful husband as well. When I was 18, I didn't want to live in that place anymore. I couldn't live in that place anymore after all these years, like so many years of having to deal with all this hard stuff that I dealt with. And then the last thing I remember is in 2006, where I had actually almost died. Around the time I was married for about 9 years, or not 9 years, my bad. I was married for like a year. I was 19 years old. I almost died. I ended up having 2 infections that were really, really bad, and I had 105 fever at the time, and then it just would not go away. I remember being in the hospital, and they were doing like kidney, like scans and stuff for my kidney and stuff like that. And I remember hearing the Lord's voice, and at the time He told me that it wasn't my time to go. I had more work to do. She knows I'm still here. So, oh, I forgot to tell you too. I was actually saved when I was 8 or 9. It was back in like 97, something like that. I was 8 or 9 years old. I was actually saved out on my porch when I first heard the gospel. But that's why I have trust issues. Like, I don't trust people. I have a hard time trusting people. It's not easy for me to trust people. Especially when I get called liar all the time. It's not easy. I'm glad I didn't die from suicide when I was 15, though. I'm really glad I didn't. Like, I still get thoughts of suicide, but I know better than that, so I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really have a mom in my life, and I didn't really have a dad in my life, and, like, they were there, but they weren't there, if you know what I mean. They weren't there for me, so it's really difficult for me to open up to people or do anything, or anything like that, so, and that's why I feel so close to the Lord, because of that fact. It's so hard for me to open up to people, and it's really difficult because of all, like I said, all the years I had to go through this difficult life and stuff like this. Like, I just remember my parents doing drugs all the time. Like, I stepmom, my dad did drugs. They drank. They actually smoked weed. They did all this stuff. Like, for years they did this stuff, and I just didn't want to be in that life anymore, and it's really difficult. But yes, I just wanted to come on, and I wanted to share my testimony with everybody, and it was really, really difficult for me. And I just wanted to open up and tell everybody about this. Thank you all for listening. I love you all. Bye-bye.